This Algebra 1, test number 12, got through inequalities. Beginner number 1 says which number is a solution of the inequality. Basically, which one makes it a true statement? Is negative 3 in place of B larger or greater than negative 13.6? No, neither is 3, neither is 10. The only one that works for that one is C. So number 1. 16 is greater than 13.6. Then we graph in these inequalities. Remember, you only want to show the number and you want to show its relation to 0. So 2 is positive, so show 0 and 2. It's less than, which means it's open, and it's this way, less than. X is greater than, X is less than or equal to negative 4. Again, show its relation to 0. Negative numbers over there. So less than or equal to means color the bubble in and everything that direction. X is greater than or equal to 2. Again, positive 2, so show it as positive. Greater than or equal to means color. Greater than means that way. 5, write an inequality for the graph where you have the number 6 is highlighted. So just do X and then do 6 and then determine which symbol you need to put in there. You know it's facing this direction, so it'll look like this because that's the same way the arrow goes. Then you just have to determine if it's or equal to or not. We know that if it was colored in, it would be or equal to. This one's an open bubble, so that is your inequality. 6 says Tina can type at least 40 words per minute. There's your key right there, at least. That means she's not typing 39. That means she's typing 40, or she's typing 41 or 42 or more than that. So more than 40 or 40. So Tina can type X is greater than or equal to 40. And then when you graph that, again, show its relation to 0. We know it's on the right side because it's positive. Not that one. We know it's on the right side since it's positive. Why is it erasing that one and not the other one? I don't know. Let's see. But 0 and 40. Greater than or equal to means color it in. The or equal to part, greater than means all of the numbers on that side to the right. Right inequalities to model these. Earned $44 or more. So he earned 44, so it could be equal to. More than that would be greater than. Exceeds 80. Think about speed, breaking the speed limit. You break the speed limit when you exceed it. If the speed limit was 80 miles an hour, you would not get a ticket for going 80. So that means you do not count the number 80 itself. We know exceeds means more than 80, 81, 82, and numbers like so. So X is greater than 80. 9 says solve these equations. This is going back a few weeks. Variables on both sides. Move the smaller 3x over to that side by subtracting 3x. It'll leave you with 1x over here minus 6 equals negative 5. Then get rid of minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides, and you get x is 1. Combine all of your d terms for number 10. 8d minus 3d is 5d. 5d minus d is 4d. So you have 4d to start plus 4 equals 2d. Normally we'd bring our smaller 2D over to the left side, but since 4 is on the left side, let's move everything else to the other side. So let's move this positive 4D over to the right by subtracting it. Do the same here, and it'll leave you with negative 2D on the left equals still positive 4 all by itself. Get rid of negative 2 times something by dividing by negative 2. Do likewise over here. I'm going to move it right up here. D, a positive divided by negative is a negative 2. So D is negative 2. 5 over 9, or 5 divided by 9 times x minus 9 is equal to negative 5. Undo minus 9 first by adding it. Do the same here. And you have 5 over 9x equals positive 4. Then that says 5 over 9 times x. So normally you would undo times by dividing. But remember, when you divide fractions, it tells you to undo it by multiplying its reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal of 5 over 9 or 9 over 5. It'll cancel it out, but if you do it to one side, you got to multiply by 9 over 5 on the other side. So it'll cancel these and leave you with just x. 4 times 9 is the number 36, and 5 times this would be over 1 would be 5, and that's all that can be simplified. Move 8 over to the other side. It says positive 8, so subtract 8. Do likewise to this side. 17 minus 8 is 9 equals negative d, which is the same thing as negative 1 times d. Undo that by dividing by negative 1. Likewise here, positive divided by negative makes it a negative 9 is equal to d. 13, combine your like terms 33 and 7, and you get 40 plus 2g equals 44. Get rid of 40 on the left by subtracting it. Leaves you with 2g equals 4 on the right. Get rid of 2 times something by dividing by 2, and you get g equals 2. You have to distribute first. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 6 is plus 12. Then undo plus 12 by subtracting it. Gives you 2y equals 16. Undo 2 times something by dividing it. Y equals 8. 2p over 3 plus 18 equals 30. Undo plus 18 by subtracting it. Leaves you with 2p over 3 equals 12, because we undid plus 18. Now undo divide by 3 at this point by multiplying 3 on both sides. That leaves you with 2p. If you multiply it by 3, it'll just cancel out. Equals 12 times 3, we know it's 36. And then get rid of 2 times something by dividing by 2 on both sides, and p is 18. '16 says find the value of y. You're not doing anything different for y than you did for the other ones. I don't know why I gave you another set of directions. Combine your like terms, negative 6y and positive 4y, you get negative 2y. Plus 14 equals 32. Move plus 14 over to the other side by subtracting it. Do likewise to the other side. And you have 18 equals negative 2y. Get rid of negative 2 times something by dividing by negative 2. Same on this side. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Solving this equation, p plus a negative 7 is the same thing as p minus 7 equals negative 15. Undo that by adding 7 to both sides. P is negative 8. Solve these inequalities and then graph them. Simple as that. Undo minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides. It gives you x is less than or equal to negative 2. You do not flip the sign because you are not multiplying or dividing at all, and none of them are by a negative number for sure. So that's your inequality. X is less than or equal to negative 2. Again, show your relationship. Negative 2 is on that side. Less than or equal to means you color it in, and less than means this direction. Undo minus 7 on the other side by adding it. And you have x is greater than. You'd have to subtract these. You have to subtract these because one's positive and one's negative. So 10 minus 1 would be 9, and 6 minus 3 would be 3. So you have 3.9 when you put them together. So x is greater than 3.9. When you graph 3.9, you can do it this way. You could say it's 4, and you can kind of estimate what it is. Like 3.9 would be like right next to 4. Or you could just go ahead and draw yourself. You can actually write in the number 3.9 itself. So like right here, 3.9, just a little bit of an estimate. But you don't fill the bubble in, and you graph greater than, which is everything to the right. M plus 3 is less than or equal to 10. Undo plus 3 by subtracting 3 on both sides. When you subtract 3 on both sides, you get M is less than or equal to 7. So when you graph that, again, show two numbers. 7's relation to 0. Less than or equal to means color it in. Less than means go that direction to the left. Undo plus 4 at the bottom by subtracting 4 on both sides. Y is greater than. Negative 7 minus 4 is going to be negative 11. If you got negative 3 or something like that, make a change. Y is greater than negative 11. And when you graph that, again, show the two numbers, 0 and negative 11. We know it's positive, so it'll be on that side. Open bubble because it's not or equal to. Greater than means everything that direction. X over 5 or x divided by 5 is greater than 7. Undo divide by 5 by multiplying both sides by 5. That is the multiplication property of inequality. We've been doing all the rest of the properties. X is greater than 35. You do not change the sign there. Even though you multiplied, you did not multiply by a negative number. So when you graph that number, again, show two numbers, show its relationship to 0. We know it's positive, so graph it as greater than, open circle, everything to the right. Now you can look at this one of two different ways. You can look at this one negative 1 times x over 5. But remember, you can put that negative anywhere you want. The fastest and easiest way, it could either be at the top or the bottom, is to put the negative on the bottom and make it look like this. So now what it says is x divided by negative 5 is less than or equal to negative 1. You know, in order to undo divide by negative 5, you multiply by negative 5. If you do that to the left, multiply to right by the same negative 5. That'll cancel the division out on the left and just leave you at x. And then -1 times -5, we know a negative times a negative is a positive. But here's the instance where we multiplied by a negative number, in this case, -5. So reverse this symbol less than or equal to and make it say greater than or equal to. So when we graph that, again, just show you two numbers, 0 in its relationship with 5. Greater than or equal to means to bubble it in. Greater than means everything to the right. -1 over 6 times y. Put it right here where we can see it a little bit better. Times y is less than or equal to 12. Again, you undo multiplying by something by dividing. But again, if you divide by a fraction, ultimately you're going to wind up flipping it and multiplying by its reciprocal. So -6 over 1 is the same thing to multiply it by that. So times -6 over 1 on this side as well. It'll leave you with just y on the left. 12 times -6, well, we know 6 times 2 is 12, and 6 times 1 plus 1 is going to be 72, and it'll be a -72. But again, here is the instance where we multiplied by a negative number, so you have to reverse the symbol less than or equal to and call it greater than or equal to -72. So when you graph that, again, it's a negative number. Show two numbers, 0 in its relation with -72. Greater than or equal to means a bubble closed in. Greater than means everything to the right. X over 5 is greater than or equal to -5. Undo, I said over 5. X over 4 is greater than or equal to -5. Undo over 4 or divide by 4 by multiplying it. Do the same here. X, -5 times 4 we know is -20. You have to make a decision. Do you flip the inequality here or not? We multiplied, but notice we multiplied both sides by a +4. Even though there's a -5 on the right, that does not change the inequality. They both multiplied by a +4. So when we graph that inequality, again, two numbers, -20 and then 0, it's greater than or equal to means color the bubble in and everything to the right. Okay, number 26 says 6x is greater than or equal to -12. Get rid of 6 times something by dividing by 6 on both sides, and you get x. We know -12 divided by 6 is -2. And even though there, again, there's a -12 on the right, you divide both sides by positive numbers, so you leave the symbol just like it is, greater than or equal to -2. So you have two numbers again, show 0 and its -2 counterpart. Greater than or equal to means color the bubble in. Greater than means everything to the right. -2 times g is less than -18. Undo times -2 by dividing by it. Do the same here. We know a negative divided by negative is going to be a +9. But notice in this case, we divided by a negative number on both sides. Here's an instance where less than will reverse and become greater than. G is greater than 9. Again, show two numbers, 0 and 9. Greater than means an open bubble and everything to the right.